You're looking at Project Axum 21, but we're not going to be talking about it as a bike today. Instead, we're going to be talking about wheels. As you probably gleaned from the title, this is an argument against tubeless wheels and tires on a mountain bike for the average rider, and that's the important part, so don't start commenting just yet, because I'm talking about the average rider going tubeless and why that's really not a good idea for them. At least in my opinion, but we all have opinions. I just get to voice mine on video here, but you can voice yours in comments, so light it up if you don't agree with what I'm saying. However, it's only fair that before I dig into the reasons against tubeless that I just tell you it is awesome. I mean, tubeless is awesome, the ultimate traction, seals itself, it smooths the ride. There are so many benefits, weight savings, on average at least. So many things make it awesome, and that's great. And I understand why people go tubeless because of all those reasons I just mentioned. Now though, for the reasons I don't think it's good for the average rider. Number one, the cost. Putting all this stuff together to do a tubeless wheel set is expensive. If you are going to do this properly, there are tubeless ready tires, there are tubeless ready wheels, there's a special stem that's required. That's not even counting all the sealant that's sloshing around in there, that's extra cost, as well as the rim tape. There is special tubeless rim tape. And then there's getting it to seal up. Oh my gosh, that is such a task, especially if you don't have a compressor. Dealing with a hand pump, that can be very, very difficult. And messy, those little white spots you're seeing, that's sealant that had eked out during the setup of this, and this one was done professionally. When I do it, absolute mess, and I'm semi-allergic to the sealant. Kind of makes me itchy, so there's that too, I guess. And I know there's already someone typing, but you can make any wheel set tubeless ready. Well, you kind of can. You still have to have tubeless ready tires. There's more to it than just throwing Gorilla Tape on the rim, some sealant in there, and getting it to work. There's not only tubeless ready tires, the rims themselves need to be tubeless ready. There's a specific channel that both enables the rim tape to work properly and also that valve to seat properly once the sealant and everything's put in there. And then of course these tubeless ready tires have a specific lip design that corresponds with the lip design of these rims. I'm sure people are still typing, it doesn't matter. Well, yes, it actually does, especially if you're doing performance riding, at least the type of performance riding that people are using to justify going tubeless. Let's do a price comparison, and I'm going to factor in one having the tire and the other not, because that's a fair comparison. Because if I have wheels on this bike already, they're going to be tubed, so I've already got the tires. If I'm going tubeless, that's another set of tires, and tubeless tires, they can range anywhere from $49 to, well, way up. There's not just that. These rims cost me $230 just for the rims. That's not even counting the sealant. That's roughly another $20. The rim tape, another $20. How about that valve? That's a special valve I've already mentioned, another $20. Actually, I forgot, these are carbon wheels, so I spent a lot more than that on these wheels, but let's just assume it's the average alloy. $230 per wheel right now is actually cheap. If this is a standard setup, I've already got the tire, but even if I didn't, the tires are significantly cheaper, but more importantly, if I'm having a problem, something leaking out, and I just want to retube this, we're talking $496 to $596 if you buy cheap tubes at Walmart. If you go to a bike shop, still only going to spend about $12 or $13. And this is where my argument for tubed wheels for the average rider comes in. Because the average rider isn't going to ride a bike all season. They're going to park it when it gets ultra hot, or definitely park it during the winter months in the garage, maybe just a tarp thrown over it, whatever the case. And in those 3 or 4 months when someone's not riding, the tires are going to go flat. That even happens with tubeless. The difference is when it goes flat on a tubed wheel, you just air it back up. If a tubeless setup has gone flat and stayed that way for a few months, you're going to need to put new sealant in there, and that's a whole new ordeal. And heaven forbid that flat tire sitting up against the rim didn't break the seat. That can basically be like starting over, trying to reseat it, and again, if you don't have a compressor, that can be an issue. I guess I need to add the cost of a compressor in here or a high volume air pump, something to get these seat, although I do see people do it with regular hand pumps. Torturous, but can be done, so maybe I shouldn't add that in. Now there is an average rider that rides on a trail not like this one, rides on one that's got lots of thorns, and in that case, yeah, I could see the argument because tubeless will reseal itself to a large degree where tubed, well, cannot. And it is not fun to patch a tube on a trail. I think we can all attest to that, or really patch a tube at all. It's just not fun, but it's a lot easier than dealing with tubeless. And really, how hard does the average rider ride? Is the ability to run 18 psi in your tires, is that extra smoothness and traction required? If so, you're probably not on a modified big box bike or on a big box bike in general, and that's a whole other argument. Starting with the big box bike and converting that to tubeless, all the extra cost, as I've done here. It costs, well, I can't remember the amount, but a lot. So what do you think? Do you think tubeless is good for the average rider, worth the cost and the hassle, or do you agree with me and think that for the average rider it's just overkill? Let's get that conversation started down in the comments. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. The reason I'm doing this actually isn't for a straight up side-by-side comparison or running down all the pros and cons of tubeless versus tubed. It's actually a segue for some other content that's coming very soon, and I needed to get this out of the way so that footage makes more sense. Comment below. I'm getting back out on the trail here with Project Axum 21, which is still working amazingly well. So good, and a worthy dethroner of Project Comp V2, which is still pretty awesome on its own right, but also, I need to get back on the trail before it starts raining again. I think this is the second video in a row where it has rained, or at least about to rain, and if it seems like I'm always talking about rain, there's a reason for that. A, it's hard to film when it rains, not only for my camera equipment, but also if I'm doing GoPro footage, it really doesn't show up, as you saw in the last video. But also, a little factoid most people don't know. Let me ask you a question. Think of the rainiest area of the continental United States. Most people are going to think instantly Seattle, right? They get rain almost every day. Seems like it's a rainy area. Everyone talks about Seattle rain. The average rainfall for Seattle, Washington, 38 inches a year. I'm in North Alabama. The average annual rainfall for North Alabama, 56 inches a year. So it rains considerably more here than it does in Seattle. And this year we've had considerably more than that. We're over 70 inches so far this year. So again, think about that. Seattle, 38, we're over 70. So yeah, lots of rain I've been dealing with this year. And every year because we get more rain than Seattle does. So a little fun fact for you. Educational content here at KevCentral. That's it. Comment below. I'm hitting the trail. Have a great day.